All right, it's day 3 of 7 on the What Sold series. Today was the best day so far in this series in sales. We had just under $1,200 in sales, and I've got 26 brands and sales for you guys to check out. If you've been enjoying the series, take a minute to hit that like button. And if you're new to this series, I will have the past 2 episodes that went live the past 2 days and links in the description. So, to start it off, we had this Ralph Lauren solid red full zip hooded jacket. I got this. I will try to tell you the prices that I paid if I remember them. This one I do remember. I paid $4.99. I bought this a week or two ago, which is why I remember. And it sold at the full ask price. Oh, sorry. It sold at a best offer of $26.99. If you're new to the series as well, the prices that I say are the prices that the buyer paid, not including shipping, sales tax, all that jazz. So, next we had a pair of FootJoy pants. I don't believe these were the athletic. Oh, they were the athletic fit. Okay, so these are the athletic fit FootJoy pants. FootJoy pants in general are pretty bad, but the athletic fit ones seem to do pretty decently for us. So we usually will pick them up if they are the right price. This one ended up selling for the listed price of $26.77. I don't think we just had a little tiny fading here on the front, so nothing major whenever it comes to flaws. Typically, whenever we find these pants, we always have flaws. So, gotta look for the flaws whenever you're finding the FootJoy stuff and all the golf stuff. All right, I'm gonna start actually blowing and going because that's the style that we like to do here. Brands that are not much to say about, I'm gonna just go over because we got 26 to go through today. If I say a brand, it's different for every single category how good it is. Someone asked last video, if I say a brand, does that mean always buy it? No, it does not. It means to look up the item if you find it and look up the category that you're in and make sure and check comps and do your own research and figure out sort of if it fits your business model to resell. So we're going to start rock and rolling. Charles Twite, bread and butter for us. Nothing super crazy here to say. It's an experiment right now we're running to see if these sell pretty well, and so far they're okay. They're definitely nowhere near 100% sell-through rate. I'm be surprised if they're 50%, but whenever we are trying to do large volume, this is one of those brands that we need to pick up and to keep our business going. Next is Marine Layer. Mentioned this in the last video. The brand is sort of declining in value and sell-through rate. It's typically a very low margin brand, so you really have to do your research and make sure that you've got an item that's worth selling, because a lot of their stuff is not worth selling. And typically the thrift store prices, at least here in Dallas, are way too expensive to even buy this brand to resell due to those low margins. Next, we have RLX Shorts. This is a brand that we no longer pick up in pretty much every category, unless there is a caveat. For example, we just sold 2 size small RLX polos that were striped, and for some reason that sell-through rate was high, which is typically the opposite in clothing. The small sizes typically do worse, but for some reason an RLX small does really good compared to the brand as a whole. So that stuff we're still picking up, like the little nuances here and there. But for the most part, RLX we just have completely stopped picking up simply because it is just not selling as well as it used to. So there's going to be plenty of things throughout this series that you guys are going to see sold that are old inventory. Like this one is almost a year old and we just don't buy it anymore. And I will let you know if we don't buy it anymore, because who wants to buy crummy inventory? Next, we've got a Vineyard Vines Edgartown Polo. I remember us buying this and it was really cheap. It honestly might have been a bins find. We don't go to the bins often. No, you know what? This wasn't a bins find. This was just a thrift store down the street. And I believe we paid probably around $2 to $3 for this. And yeah, it's size small Vineyard Vines performance-y style polo. It's got spandex in it. Nothing special at all, just another bread and butter. This one ended up selling for $15. Sorry, I just realized I didn't tell you the sale prices on these best offers. The Marine Layer sold for $20 plus everything, and then the RLX sold for $11. So not great flips, but especially the RLX, but it's fine. So yeah, this one sold for $15, nothing super crazy. Vineyard Vines, there are very few things within the brand that sell really well. And again, we are sort of experimenting with some of these large brands to see what things sell well within the brand. Next is Paradise Found. Pretty good brand. The buyer who bought this actually bought this item, and then the next 3 items, which is this cool Tommy Bahama, this other cool Tommy Bahama, and then finally this amazing Tommy Bahama. So we'll go into this, but in all, he paid $122 for all 4 of those items, and then plus shipping and all that stuff. So he ended up getting a 15% discount, which is a promo we run on our store where if someone buys 4 items, they get 15% off of the purchase price. So that ended up being that $122. So Paradise Found, really cool brand, vintage brand. They make a lot of Hawaiian stuff. Sometimes they have, motorcycles on their shirts and things like that. Some of the models do, or styles or patterns do really well, and then some of them are just okay. And then also a lot of the times when we find this brand, there are pretty big flaws on it. So we usually half the time have to pass due to those flaws, whether it's rips, stains, holes, or tears. And yeah, so then we also had the Tommy Bahamas that sold. Really cool one here, size 2XL. Had just, I think this is a postcard sort of pattern. Yeah, some postcards on it with flowers, solid red basically. And then we had a black, and I don't know what type of flower that is, whether it's a hibiscus or not, but a floral black Tommy Bahama, which I have noticed that the black Tommy Bahamas seem to do a little bit better than the typical Tommy Bahamas that are other colors. And also like yellow does horrible. Yellow is typically a horrible color if it's solid to sell in used clothing. And then this really cool one that was a size 3X and just really vibrant, cool colors, really nice texture. Was not an island zone, but still almost felt like it. But yeah, super cool item. And I'm glad that one person was able to snag 4 things off of our store. Another pair of Ariat jeans. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Every single video we've done so far in the past 3 days for this series has had a pair of Ariat jeans sell. So I guess we find it a lot around here and I didn't realize it, but these ended up selling for a best offer of $25.57, and that is because there is a huge slash in the kneecap on one of the legs that is not supposed to be there. But again, like I said yesterday, not a big deal, as Ariat jeans are typically worn in the work field, the manual labor field, and people are going to destroy them anyways, so they don't mind getting deals on used ones that they can use for their jobs. Next one is Duluth. I don't have much to say about Duluth. I think I mentioned it last video as well. I'm sort of experimenting with the brand, trying to find some of the things that are higher value or higher sell-through rate within the brand, which is only like 5% of their items. So if you see Duluth, don't buy it. Make sure you look it up and see if what you have in your hands is worth the money. This item sat for 6 months and it sold for a best offer of $16.99. Next, we have a pair of Noble shoes. Noble is still a really good brand to resell, in my opinion. We seem to be able to sell them within a month whenever they get listed, and they typically sell for $40 or more whenever we do list them, unless they're just like really worn from use in the gym. These ended up selling for a best offer of $40 plus shipping. And yeah, not much to say here. Noble is just a great brand in general. This is a great sale. This is a Brioni tie. We have a couple ties that actually sold today, or the day that I'm showing you. And this one ended up selling for the full last price of $79.99. It took less than a month to sell, and just an awesome looking tie. I love finding Brioni ties. They typically look really nice and they feel really nice, and they sell for a decent amount of money, surprisingly, for ties. So that was a great sale. Brioni, obviously a good brand all around the board whenever it comes to their clothing and stuff. So I actually just found 2 Brioni blazers the other day, and it's the first time I've ever found a Brioni blazer, and I'm super excited to list them and see how they do, but I do think they have some flaws that are kind of major, so we'll see what happens. Next is this pair of Vissla board shorts. These ended up selling for $24.87. Not a genius at all on this brand whatsoever. I don't know how good it is across the board whenever it comes to categories, but I think we found this and just looked it up while we were in the store, and this particular item sold pretty decently, so we picked it up and it sold within, it looks like 2 months. So not a bad sale whatsoever. Next we have a Nua Tags Ermene Gildo Zegna. I like to call it Zegna, but it's pronounced Zegna. And this ended up selling for a best offer of $71.99. For our ties, we do free shipping, by the way. It's the only category we do free shipping. So if you see that over here, that is why that is. So this had a MSRP at Nordstrom Rack, which was $195, but obviously it's the rack, so it was on sale. So it's still pretty close to the, like about half probably, I would say, of the MSRP value. This is probably the second or third Xenia tie that was new tags that I've sold over my reselling career, and they typically sell for around this price, $70 to $100. So if you end up finding one, great brand to pick up. Just got to not have any flaws, obviously, being a tie. Next, we've got Judy Blue. I think everyone knows Judy Blue by now, especially if you've been a viewer of our channel. We've put it in almost every single haul video or sold video because we just find it so much and it sells so quickly. So these ended up selling for the list price of $32.99. Just going to blow to the next one. Next, we've got Fabletics pants. These ended up selling for a best offer of $22.38. This is actually the first pair of Fabletics that the first item of Fabletics that we've ever bought to try to resell. We've always thought it was bad. It might be bad, honestly, but we are experimenting with it. As you also are seeing a pattern, we are always trying new things, trying new brands to resell, and trying to figure out things that we can find commonly in thrift stores to resell, even if it's not a super high margin item. This is one of those experiments. Not sure how it's going to turn out, so definitely do research on this one if you find it. Not because it might be good or bad or whatever, just because I have no idea if it's good or bad. So ended up buying these, sold for $22. Happy with the sale. I think we paid $6 or $7 for these, and yeah. Next, we have a Lullaboo baby carrier shirt. This is a find from my wife, so I don't know much about this item, like the brand wise. I obviously know it carries a baby, but as for what the sell-through rate is and all that, I don't know how this brand performs. This ended up selling for the list price of $29.99, and I believe it sold in like 2 weeks, maybe even a week. So really quick sale. Interesting item, to say the least, for a clothing piece, and yeah. Next is a pair of Prana pants. We actually got these from a friend of ours who was about to go to the Goodwill and donate their clothing, and they texted us and asked if we wanted to take the items off their hand, and I sent them, some money, $100 for some of the pieces that they had, and this came from this came from that purchase. So if you have friends and family who like nice clothes, make sure you let them know whenever they're ready to get rid of them to hit you up and sell them to you instead of donating them. So this was one of the things, like I said, and this ended up selling for a best offer of $26.99, sold within the month. I don't know how much we paid per item in that buy, but I just know we spent $100 and bought like 10 things. So some of the things were really good, and then some of them were just like, we're probably gonna break even on this on the buyout. So, but doing friends a favor. So next we've got Hoka shoes. Oh, I'm gonna say Prana. I think I mentioned in one of the videos yesterday or the day before, but for the most part, the brand is not good, but we are experimenting with sort of what sells well with it. And so, yeah, definitely look that one up too, if you see it, because a lot of the times it's not a great brand. Next, we've got a pair of Hoka Mach 5 shoes. So not going to say much on Hokas. Going to move on because Hokas are just in general good. It's just a matter of finding them at the right price and in the right condition. Next, we've got Lululemon shorts. Someone in the comment section, we found a pair of shorts and did a video on it a couple weeks ago for women's shorts, and they sold for a high price. It was like $40, and someone in the comment section said that almost all of their women's shorts are doing really well right now, and so we have started picking up the women's shorts to see how well they are doing, and it seems like they're doing pretty decent. So these ended up selling for $29.69. It's very easy for us to find Lululemon women's shorts here at Goodwill and stuff in the thrift stores for pretty cheap. So we're going to see how this rolls and plays out. I'm unsure yet if the women's shorts across the board are pretty good or not, but as of right now, it is my belief that they're doing pretty decent based off of that comment and the few shorts that we have sold over the past month after hearing that comment. All right, this is an item we would never pick up again in our entire lives of reselling, but it's in here. So still made a sale, still happy with the sale. This is a Travis Matthew polo with a Fiserv embroidery on the front. So we have stopped picking up embroidered polo shirts that don't like that stand out. So like this is an orange embroidered thing on a black piece of clothing. It stands out way too much for a buyer to want to buy it. Typically the value gets taken down too much, but if that was a black embroidered Fiserv there on the black, I probably would pick that up if it was like $2 or $3 in the thrift store, because it's so hard to see that a lot of people will not care if it doesn't just scream that there's an embroidery on it. But this ended up selling for $13.13. And yeah, just glad that we were able to make that sale because this was such a poor purchase, honestly, in hindsight. Next, we've got an Ariat geometric short sleeve button-up shirt, size large. This ended up selling at a best offer for $22.97. I'm actually surprised. Over the past few months, Ariat shirts have gone down quite a bit in value because you used to be able to sell these 3 to 6 months ago for 25 to 33 bucks at the peak, but typically sitting around that $29 mark. And now it's pretty hard to even get 25 for them. So definitely be careful with the Ariat shirts right now. The value has plummeted, and I'm sure it's going to go down potentially even more. So definitely us resellers hurting the value of these shirts, but it's all good. I mean, that's how the business goes. Things go up and down and value and sell-through rates and all that stuff. But heads up, Ariat shirts are declining. This is another one that has declined over the years. This used to be an okay bread and butter item a couple years ago. But now it's just basically completely horrible to buy. So we have stopped picking it up, but that is George Strait Wrangler shirts. This one sold for $13.65. Obviously, pretty decent pickup if you're in the bins shopping. But for us, in our business model, we never use the bins. And so there's no way for us to get shirts like this for, under $2 or $3. And yeah, so not a great shirt, but if you're doing the bins model, this might still be an okay pickup if it's in perfect condition. I'm not sure. You just have to do some research. Next, we got a pair of Cole Haans. These are just one of the more modern, just sneakers. This is a size 11. Style code is there. If you ever find Cole Haans, you can look up that code and figure out exactly what shoe you have. I actually have owned a pair of these in the past myself, and I loved them, and apparently a lot of people like them. I usually can just buy these if they're in good condition and the soles aren't super worn. Buy them for like $6-7 and flip them into around $20 to $30. So these ended up selling for $31.31, and yeah. Next, we've got Affliction, still a pretty decent brand, not amazing. I think it's gone down heavily in value, but it's still, I think, worth reselling. I'm not sure. We bought this less than a month ago, and the buyer ended up buying 2 items from us. He bought this plus this Barabbas, which the Barabbas shirt was a mistake whenever we bought it, and we knew that after we got home before listing it. It was just an accidental purchase, but ended up selling for $36.61 for both shirts combined. So I believe that's like 22 and 22 and 12. So basically 10% off of each item. And yeah, I love whenever people purchase multiple things. It's one of the great benefits of having a large store, as almost every day you get multi-quantity orders, which is super nice. Next, we've got a Stitch Polo. Talked about this yesterday. This brand has fallen off quite a bit. This sold for $16.15. I think that's 10% off. So $16.15. Solid green, size medium, nothing super special. And yeah, Stitch is definitely one that you need to do research on if you find it, as a lot of the sizes and styles and stuff don't do well. And the ones that do well don't even sell for all that much money. So you got to buy it for very cheap. Next, we've got a great sale. This was a pair of Dexter boots, and I found these at the Goodwill last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago. So really quick sale, and they ended up selling for $100 best offer. I looked up this style code W998, and the sell-through rate was I believe 2 listed and 6 or 7 sold or something like that. Something where it was 200-300% sell-through. And yeah, so listed these at $120, which was on the medium to higher side of comps, and took a best offer within 24 hours of listing them for $100. I'm super happy with the sale. I believe we paid, I want to say $20 for these because they were boots, but it could have been 10. But yeah, either way, still made a lot of money, even spending 20. So gotta love that. And yeah, so the What Sold series gonna go all the way to Sunday. If you enjoy the series so far, smash that like button, give it a thumbs up, and comment maybe a brand or something that you didn't know was worth selling that was in this video, or maybe a brand that you used to pick up as well and is no longer worth picking up, as we are clearly learning a lot of those things as we go. and it's a business of always learning and educating yourself, and you just got to keep trucking through and figuring out the ways to make the monies. So hope you guys are enjoying this style. I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video, and we will talk to you later.